Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to talk about the steering rack in a car. We will find out what the steering rack in a car is all about, the symptoms of a bad steering rack, and how to prevent the steering rack from damaging. But before we continue, please hit the subscription button and turn on the notification bell so that you will be the first to see my video. Once it drops, thank you. So, let us begin. What is a steering rack in a car? A steering rack in a car is a crucial component of the steering system that plays a central role in directing the vehicle. It is part of the rack and pinion steering mechanism, a common type of steering system used in many modern cars. The steering rack consists of a rectangular or circular metal bar, known as the rack, with gear teeth along its length. This rack is connected to the vehicle's front wheels. When the driver turns the steering wheel, the motion is translated into linear movement along the rack. To facilitate this movement, a pinion gear is connected to the steering column. As the driver turns the steering wheel, the pinion gear engages with the gear teeth on the steering rack, causing it to move either to the left or right. This linear motion is then converted into rotational motion at the wheels, resulting in the vehicle changing its direction. In essence, the steering rack serves as a link between the driver's input via the steering wheel and the actual movement of the front wheels. The rack and pinion system is appreciated for its simplicity, precision, and responsiveness, making it a popular choice in the automotive industry. Regular maintenance and proper functioning of the steering rack are crucial for safe and effective vehicle control. Common issues with the steering rack include leaks, worn-out components, or damaged gears, which may result in steering problems and the need for repairs or replacements. What are the symptoms of a bad steering rack in a car? A faulty steering rack can lead to various symptoms that affect the handling and control of the vehicle. Here are common signs of a bad steering rack in a car. 1. Steering wheel play. Excessive play or looseness in the steering wheel, where the wheel moves back and forth without responding to driver input, especially when turning. 2. Difficulty steering. Increased effort is required to turn the steering wheel, making the steering feel heavy or stiff, particularly at low speeds or during parking maneuvers. 3. Uneven steering response. Uneven or erratic steering response, where the vehicle may pull to one side or feel unstable while driving straight. 4. Noise. While steering, unusual noises such as clunking, knocking, or grinding sounds when turning the steering wheel indicate potential wear or damage to the steering rack components. 5. Leaking power steering fluid. Visible leaks of power steering fluid underneath the vehicle, often near the steering rack or the steering gear boots. Leaks can lead to a loss of power steering assistance and affect steering performance. 6. Fluid contamination. Contaminated power steering fluid, which may appear discolored or have a burnt smell, suggesting internal damage or wear within the steering rack assembly. 7. Steering wheel. Vibrations or shuddering felt through the steering wheel, especially during turns or at high speeds, indicating potential issues with the steering rack or suspension components. 8. Delayed steering response. Delayed or sluggish steering response, where there is a noticeable delay between turning the steering wheel and the vehicle's response, compromising driver control and safety. 9. Visible damage or wear. Visual inspection of the steering rack reveals signs of physical damage, corrosion, or excessive wear on the rack, housing, bushings, or mounting bolts. 10. Steering wheel off center. The steering wheel is not centered when the vehicle is traveling straight, indicating alignment issues possibly caused by a misaligned or damaged steering rack. If any of these symptoms are experienced, it is essential to have the steering system inspected and diagnosed by a qualified mechanic. Ignoring issues with the steering rack can lead to compromised vehicle safety and handling, posing a risk to the driver and passengers. Prompt attention and necessary repairs are necessary to maintain the integrity and functionality of the steering system. How to prevent the steering rack from damaging. To prevent steering rack damage and ensure the longevity of your steering system, follow these preventive maintenance practices. 1. Regular inspections. Conduct routine visual inspections of the steering components, including the steering rack, for signs of leaks, wear, or damage. Address any issues promptly. 2. Check power steering fluid. Regularly check the power steering fluid level and quality. Ensure the fluid is within the recommended range and replace it if it appears discolored or contaminated. 3. Avoid overloading. Avoid overloading your vehicle, as excessive weight can strain the steering system and contribute to premature wear on components like the steering rack. 4. Smooth driving habits. Practice smooth and controlled driving habits. Avoid sudden and harsh steering inputs, especially during parking or turning maneuvers. 5. Proper wheel alignment. Ensure that your vehicle's wheels are properly aligned. Misalignment can put additional stress on the steering rack and cause uneven wear. 6. Maintain suspension components. Keep other suspension components, such as control arms and bushings, in good condition. These components contribute to the overall stability of the steering system. 7. Avoid potholes and rough terrain. Steer clear of potholes, rough terrain, and obstacles that can cause jolts and impacts to the steering system. These shocks can contribute to damage over time. 8. Timely repairs. Address any steering-related issues promptly. If you notice symptoms of a bad steering rack or other steering problems, seek professional inspection and repairs. 9. Proper tire inflation. Maintain proper tire pressure to ensure even tire wear and reduce unnecessary stress on the steering components. 10. Avoid hydroplaning. Drive cautiously in wet conditions to avoid hydroplaning, as loss of traction can lead to sudden and aggressive steering inputs that may strain the steering system. 11. Regular professional inspections. Schedule regular inspections with a qualified mechanic. A professional can identify potential issues before they escalate and provide necessary maintenance or repairs. Remember, preventive maintenance is key to extending the life of your steering rack and ensuring safe and efficient vehicle operation. If you ever notice unusual sounds, difficulty steering, or other symptoms of steering problems, address them promptly to prevent further damage and ensure the safety of your vehicle. Can a steering rack be repaired? Yes, a steering rack can often be repaired, depending on the nature and extent of the damage. Some common issues with steering racks can be addressed through repair rather than replacement. Here are a few examples of repairable steering rack issues. 1. Seal replacement. If the steering rack is leaking power, steering fluid due to damaged seals, it may be possible to replace the seals without replacing the entire rack. 2. Boot replacement. The steering rack is equipped with protective rubber boots that can wear out or tear. If detected early, replacing the damaged boot can prevent debris from entering and causing further damage. 3. Tie rod end replacement. The tie rod ends are integral to the steering rack's function. If only the tie rod ends are worn or damaged, they can be replaced individually without replacing the entire rack. 4. Bushings replacement. Worn or damaged bushings on the steering rack can be replaced to restore stability and smooth operation. 5. Rebuilding. In some cases, professional mechanics may offer steering rack rebuilding services, where they disassemble the rack, replace worn components, and reassemble it to factory specifications. However, it's essential to note that the repairability of a steering rack depends on the specific issue and the extent of the damage. If the damage is extensive, involves internal components, or compromises the overall structural integrity of the rack, replacement may be the more practical and safe option. Always consult with a qualified mechanic to assess the condition of your steering rack and determine the most appropriate course of action. They can conduct a thorough inspection, identify the specific issues, and provide recommendations for repair or replacement based on safety, functionality, and cost-effectiveness. So, for you not to miss any of our videos on car maintenance, hit the subscription button and turn on the notification bell so that you will be the first to see our video once it drops. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.